When it comes to cars in GTA Online, you have to make one big compromise. Either you go really fast or you sacrifice speed in exchange for added protection and firepower. But what if I told you that certain vehicles can do both at the same time? And furthermore, what if I were to rank them in a top 10 list in order of increasing performance? Because in this video, that's exactly what we're gonna do. I'll show you 10 fast cars in GTA Online, and also what makes each of these vehicles worth owning is that they all have a unique property that makes them stand out from the rest. And no, this isn't going to be a simple top speed list here, otherwise it would just be HSW cars from start to finish, and you can just give that a Google for yourself. But as a bonus, I'll also review cars that are insanely fast despite being available on last gen consoles, so that's going to include PlayStation 4 and Xbox One bros out there. Unlike Rockstar, I haven't forgotten about you guys. And while speed does come at a cost, many of the vehicles on my list here are deliberately cheap, so even the beginners among you can easily afford them after just a couple of Cluck and Bells or Cayo Perico heists. Speaking of cheap, let me start this list with my budget king, which is actually a $3 million electric supercar that you can get for free by completing the Los Santos Drug Wars DLC missions. And that supercar is none other than the Ocelot Virtue, which shreds through drag strips and racetracks alike with its all-wheel drive and instantaneous electric torque that sends you flying off the start line like one of Elon Musk's rocket ships. But what makes the Virtue stand out from other really fast electric cars, in my opinion, is its durability once you install the Amani Tech armor panels and missile lock-on jammer. With those upgrades, it's suddenly transformed from a more basic fast car into an indestructible fighting machine that will keep you safe in public lobbies from all manner of griefers, because with Amani Tech upgrades, this thing can tank up to 12 RPGs and 12 homing missiles. Plus, it comes with proximity mines, and it can even be used as a remote controlled car to troll spawn campers. So you're essentially getting the best of both worlds here in one inexpensive package. And you can unlock it for free simply by completing all 5 Lastos missions, at the end of which Dax gives you a call and points you to Dr. Isaiah Friedlander's personal Ocelot Virtue, which you can claim and keep for yourself. Next up is another really affordable car here, and while this one does cost $705,000 if you buy it off in-game websites, you can also get it for free by making a new character on the expanded and enhanced version of GTA 5 Online. And if you're on last gen, the Turismo Classic is still a decently quick vehicle out there, but on current gen consoles and PC enhanced, it can equip HSW upgrades, which turns it into a 151-mile-an-hour racing machine that's gonna blitz through time trials and street races without really even trying. For reference, that's over 31 miles an hour faster than the Virtue's top speed, and while you do sacrifice a bit of acceleration, the Turismo Classic is gonna look better, sound much better, and is just more fun to drive overall in my opinion. I mean, I definitely take an F40 over an electric Lotus any day of the week, especially if it's in red. My next category here is going to be the fastest police vehicle, and there is only one viable pick here, the Coquette D10 Pursuit, which does beat out the Gauntlet Interceptor as well as the Dominator FX Interceptor in terms of both top speed and lap times. Now, you do have to remember that player-owned police cars in general are a rather recent addition to GTA Online, and the Coquette D10 Pursuit in particular was added last December, sort of as a Christmas present. And what makes this vehicle so special is that it's the second most expensive car in all of GTA Online, right behind the Deluxo. However, while the Deluxo wows you with its Back to the Future charm and sci-fi flying powers, the Coquette D10 Pursuit evokes that old school Need for Speed Hot Pursuit vibe as you race through the streets of Los Santos, sirens blaring, eagerly searching for your next arrest. Okay, well, technically you aren't a real cop, as you're essentially doing contract work for Vincent with dispatch work, but hey, that still makes you a ton of easy money. Each dispatch mission takes just 3 minutes and earns you $25,000, which makes these almost as profitable as security contracts or even payphone hits over time, especially when you consider the amount of time that you spend for that payout. But wait, it gets even better, because in the Agents of Sabotage DLC, Rockstar patched this content so its cooldown was reduced from 5 minutes down to just 1 single minute. That means you're making $25,000 on average every 4 to 5 minutes, as many times in a row as you want. And you can request these missions on the fly just by sitting inside of a police cruiser that you own. And for me, that police car is going to be the D10 Pursuit. Not just because it's based on the C8 Corvette, but also because it's a really fast vehicle with a top speed of 133 miles an hour. Is it going to beat out dedicated Sportsters and HSW supercars on the racetrack? No, but then again, those cars don't come with a built-in money generator, and they don't look nearly as cool as the D10 Pursuit. So if you stomach the insane price, or if Rockstar puts it on sale during an event week like we've just had recently, grab yourself a D10 Pursuit, because you absolutely won't regret it. And now let's talk about the fastest car in the game that's also extremely fun to drive at the same time. And for this category, I can think of no better candidate than the timeless beauty that is the Sterling GT. It is the second fastest sports classic right behind the Turismo Classic, and it has an insanely high top speed of 156 miles an hour with HSW upgrades, which is going to put it on par with the HSW S95 and Hakucho drag in terms of raw straight line speed. Plus, it only costs $975,000 for the base car, which these days is an absolute bargain considering how much Rockstar charges for a basic sporty sedan like the NS Hardy, for example. And while the Sterling GT won't be setting any lap records in its base configuration, it still looks marvelous with those gull wing doors. It's basically a 1960s Bond car if James Bond drove a Mercedes 300 SL instead of an Aston Martin. And that's not all. Listen to this sweet engine note. I think it's one of the best engine sounds in the game, if not the absolute best, and even with HSW upgrades, which dramatically increases power output by the way, this car will rarely spin out on you. It has just the right amount of oversteer, feels light-footed on the street, and just responds really well to your inputs, whether you're accelerating or even braking. It's a cornering machine despite its age, and you're gonna look really cool while you're driving around in this vehicle, which is always an extra nice perk to have. Okay, time for the fastest weaponized vehicle category, and for this one, I actually have two contenders within this very list. One of them has to be the runner-up because there can only be one winner, and the runner-up here is the Vigilante. Now comment below your guesses on which car is the winner for the fastest weaponized vehicle category, and make sure to stick around until the end of the video to find out. So, the Vigilante, aka the not Batmobile. What makes this so amazing is that despite being a massive 7.5-ton armored vehicle with homing missiles and machine guns mounted underneath the hood, it can do a lap of a racetrack in less time than the Banshee GTS with HSW upgrades, and that thing is supposed to be the fastest car in the game. And here's the proof. Ruffy 1322 standardized testing, which shows the Vigilante doing a lap in just 55.87 seconds. For reference, the Niobe with HSW upgrades does the same lap time in 55.38 seconds, only half of a second quicker. And hilariously though, if you don't use the Vigilante's insanely overpowered rocket boost, its lap time drops by a whopping 10 plus seconds, which goes to show just how much difference that rear mounted rocket engine makes. But the Vigilante isn't just fast, it's also weaponized with tier 1 homing missiles that can outshoot the missiles on an Oppressor Mark II. These are the same tier of homing missiles that you get on the Ruiner 2000 as well as Deluxo, and they will literally pull a 360 at the last second to chase down evasive targets. And one more thing that makes the Vigilante special is the fact that it's one of the exceedingly rare weaponized vehicles that can still be used in missions like the Dr. Dre finale, for example, where the game would normally prevent you from using weaponized vehicles like your Sparrow or Oppressor or Toreador. And I guess that's because Batman doesn't kill unless he's in a Zack Snyder movie, in which case he kills a lot. And here's another exceedingly fast non-HSW car for all of you last-gen players, the Progen Emrys. While it is slower around a track than the Batmobile, the Emrys is actually the third fastest car in the supercar category, right behind the Cyclone 2 and Ignis. And it can set a blisteringly fast lap time despite being restricted to a top speed of just 126.7 miles an hour, which, while fast, isn't that high of a top speed, I guess. The reason the Emrys feels so quick though is its excellent aerodynamics, lightweight design, and absolutely superb grip. It's probably one of the best handling cars in the entire game. Personally, I can't imagine any realm of existence where a McLaren Senna gets trounced by a souped up BMW i8 on the racetrack, but hey, Rockstar's gonna do Rockstar things, and that means the Emrys will still lose to a HSW powered Niobe on the track, despite being one of the best handling cars in the game that isn't an open wheel F1 racer. The La Carouse is a $2 million electric hatchback, which is based on the 2022 Renault R5 Turbo 3E concept vehicle, and that means it's fast, really fast in fact, as it's the 5th fastest HSW vehicle in terms of lap time, and has a top speed of over 142 miles an hour, which makes it an excellent choice for racing, time trials, and missions where you value speed over protection. However, in its non-HSW configuration, the La Carouse is rather underwhelming, so if you're on the legacy version of GTA 5, I definitely recommend buying either the Vigilante or Emrys if you want max speed, as both of those will be much faster around a track, both on the drag strip as well as the streets. Without its exceptional speed, the La Carouse just doesn't really have anything interesting going for it. It's not really some kind of driving revelation like the Sterling GT, or a special vehicle to make you money like the D10 Pursuit. So if you can't get the HSW version, stay away from this one. But if you can get the HSW La Carouse, I can promise you it will be well worth it. The Coil Cyclone 2 is also an electric car, but unlike the La Carouse, it's got some blisteringly fast performance even in its non-HSW configuration, and once you add those HSW upgrades, it becomes the 3rd fastest HSW car in the entire game. By the way, the 2nd fastest as well as fastest HSW cars are both up next, and they're both the only vehicles in the game that will beat a Cyclone 2 around the racetrack. However, the Coil Cyclone 2 has something else going for it: acceleration. In a pure acceleration test, like on a really short drag race, for example, I challenge you to find any other vehicle that can outpace this thing. Not even the mighty Virtue can hold up against the Cyclone 2's acceleration, and in terms of pure handling, I think it's one of the more fun electric vehicles to drive, which is high praise when you consider that most electric cars in this game just don't feel that great. But the Cyclone 2 is an exception, which is why it earns a rightfully deserved third place on my ranking list here, just based on that acceleration alone. Number 2, we've got to give it to the Ubermacht Niobe, which many of you will recognize as the car that beats literally everything else in races, so it wins the best track car category in my list. Even though the BR8 is technically faster with a quicker lap time, but that is an F1 car, and you'll feel like a total douche driving one of those in real time. Plus, it's just wildly impractical due to how fragile it is, and you'll struggle to get the BR8 going on anything but perfect terrain. So Niobe it is for most of us normal people. Maybe if you don't like that one, go with the Banshee GTS. And for the number 1 car on my fast vehicles list in GTA Online that you gotta own, as luck would have it, it's also the fastest weaponized vehicle in the game too, and it is none other than the Weaponized Ignis, aka a Lamborghini Sean, with a giant triple barrel minigun mounted to the roof. This car is super special to me because just like the Vigilante, you can use it in missions that don't normally allow weaponized vehicles, but it also comes with a built-in missile lock-on jammer, so in a way you're getting an Imani Tech feature without this being a proper Imani Tech car, and it can hit a top speed of 145 miles an hour while also outrunning the Niobe on a racetrack, which is just insane to even think about. If you can afford an Ignis, get one right now. Slap some HSW upgrades on it and you'll forget that the armored Kuruma was ever really a thing, because not only is the Ignis nearly as fast as a Hakusho drag from point A to point B, but it comes with the firepower of a weaponized Tampa and the protection of a normal Imani Tech vehicle. In other words, it's nearly perfect. If only it had slightly more explosive resistance, this would be one of the best cars to use in the entire game. Anyways, that's all I have for this 10 fastest vehicles list. I'd love to know in the comments which vehicles on this list do you own and which ones are you looking to buy next. If you have any personal picks that you'd like me to add, also let me know down in the comments, as these are the vehicles I like to use most often that are also fast, but your mileage may vary. And also let me know if you want to see just a strict top speed ranking list. I wanted to do stuff with acceleration, weaponry, armor, overall fun, and drivability, because do we really need the same list talking about the same vehicles once again on a YouTube channel? I don't really think so. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to drop a like if you found this video informative, and subscribe to the channel if you're new. As always, I'll see you guys in the next GTA 5 online video. Until then, adios amigos.